Awesome, I guess we can get started. Welcome guys, come on in. Come on in, we haven't gotten started yet. We're just chilling. Just chilling. Okay, yeah, so this is the Billy Kametz Q A. So I guess I'll just kind of give you a rundown of how I got started in anime and all that good stuff and my journey with acting. And then we'll leave it open for you guys to just answer all of your burning questions. And then if we end early, I will just sing Old Man River one time really slowly until time is up. So that's what we'll do. Billy Kametz, I grew up in Hershey, Pennsylvania. I wanted to be a voice actor since I was in 3rd grade because I remember I was watching The Angry Beavers and Daggett Beaver was the coolest thing that I have ever seen in my life. It was so funny. And then Invader Zim came out like a year later and I was like, that's Daggett Beaver, that's the guy, I want to do that. So I wanted to do voiceover, and then I was a 3rd grade boy in Pennsylvania, so I was like, I'll just do theater. So I did theater for a long time. I just kind of started acting. It just kind of quickly became like the only thing that I was good at. So I just kind of kept on that boat. Did a bunch of, I did like a theater high school half the day. That was amazing. And then I went to college for theater, kind of fell into doing musicals because there were way better actors there than me. But if you could carry a tune, they needed you. They needed guys for the musicals. So I kind of just like fell into musicals. I was like, this is fun, I like this. Kept doing that. I took a break to do Disney Cruise Line for a year. I wish I could tell you what I was doing there, but they're very secretive about that stuff, so I can't. But it was very fun. And then I moved to New York. I hated New York. I hated living in New York. New York is a wonderful place. It's a wonderful place to visit. Living in New York was just stressful. There's like 2 months out of the year where the weather is good and people are in a good mood because of it. And if you had an idea like, I should go to Central Park, everyone had that idea. Central Park is littered with people. So yeah, I just wasn't really feeling New York, and I kind of wasn't feeling doing musicals anymore. I was just like kind of changing. I just wasn't like kind of feeling like my thing anymore. So I remember I got an audition for Aladdin in the Aladdin musical spectacular. And I was like, there's no way I'm gonna book this. So I had a very much ease about me during the audition because I was like, there's no way I'm gonna be Aladdin. And then I get there, it went really well, and then my agent called me and he was like, hey, they're really strongly considering you for Aladdin. Would you relocate to California if you got that role? And I was like, yes, absolutely. So I booked it, and the reason I was so excited to get out to California was because I could finally pursue voiceover. I was just like, that was my focus. That was what I was gonna do. I remember I was watching, did anybody ever see I Know That Voice, the documentary? It's so good, it is so good. So I was watching that with my girlfriend at the time, and I was just like losing my mind at this thing. I was just like, oh my god, that's Jim Cummings. He's Darkwing Duck. He's Winnie the Pooh and Tigger. Blah, blah, blah. Oh my god, that's D. Bradley Baker. He does all these creature noises. You gotta see it. It's so cool. And then she like grabs the remote. She pauses it. She's like, Billy, the only time I ever see you get this excited is when you see a French bulldog. You need to stop messing around and you should pursue this. What is wrong with you? And I was like, I think you're right. So then I started taking classes. I took my first class in New York. And then I moved out to California and I just started like inhaling classes. And I basically ended up at an audition. I kept doing musicals for a little bit while I was out there just because it was what I knew and I was like getting booked and stuff and it was nice. Aladdin was there for a year and then it became a Frozen musical spectacular, which Aladdin is not part of. So I was out of it. And then I started just doing other stuff. I was in the American Idiot musical, the Green Day musical, at this place called La Mirada, which is awesome. I love that show. The musical director was like, hey, you should go audition for this production of Little Shop. The guy is really awesome. It's in North Hollywood. So I was like, okay, cool. I went, I auditioned, I did not get it. I auditioned for The Dentist. That would have been a lot of fun, but didn't get it. But the guy that owned the theater company is named a guy called Ezra Weiss, and he owns Dubbing Brothers, which they do Miraculous Ladybug. They do a bunch of foreign dubbing stuff. So he brought me in for this. It was a dub for. It's called The 3%. It's on Netflix. Where is that from? It's from Brazil, I think. But basically, I'd never seen anything like this before. I didn't even know this existed. You just need to. Basically, what they do, you come in the booth, and the audition was just basically doing the job, essentially. So they show you the thing, and there's a thing called the Rhythmoband at the bottom of it, and it's like basically like playing DDR but voiceover. So there's the script is at the bottom, the scene is at the top, there's a little tick mark, and then the script goes from right to left, and then when it hits the tick mark, you start talking, and then when it's like done, that's when you stop talking. And I was like, this is so freaking cool, I love this, I want to do this all the time. And I was like, by the end of the audition, I started like kind of starting to feel like I was just kind of getting it a little bit. I was like, I really hope I book this, because I really just want to do this all the time. And I didn't book that character, but I booked a small character, which was awesome. So that was kind of my first like foray into voiceover. I met Lauren Landa in the waiting room, and we were just like got to talking. And I remember I was working at a brewery at the time. I was just like waiting tables and taking class. That was just kind of my jam. And I was just curious what her day job was. So I was like, so what do you do when you're not doing voiceover? And she was like, oh, I do this full time. I've been doing this for like 12 years. I was like, that's awesome. Can I take you out to coffee and just talk your ear off about all of this? And she was like, yeah, for sure. So we went on, we got coffee. She was like, you should take this class and this class and this class. You should meet this person, this person, this person. I was like, okay, cool, cool, cool. And then I started like checking it off the list, taking all the stuff. And then I got in with classes at Bang Zoom. They do a lot of stuff, and I basically booked Josuke and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure like within months of auditioning for anime. I got so unbelievably lucky, I can't even tell you. So I just basically, that's kind of how I got in. It just kind of started steamrolling from there. Yeah, that's pretty much the story of how I got here, and now I get to be here with you guys and talking, and I'm so excited. So, does anybody have any questions? Anybody, right here in the front?
Yeah. So first of all, Josuke is my favorite JoJo character, and you
Amazing.
Nailed him. So thank you so much for that.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
Yeah, so I'm assuming that Josuke is your favorite JoJo.
I mean, yeah, I'm pretty biased.
Yeah. So, but I was wondering if you had a favorite JoJo other than Josuke.
I mean, Jotaro is just the coolest, so if I had to pick, I would have to say him. He's just super cool. But yeah, Josuke was just a dream come true. So basically, I was, before doing that, when I was doing the Aladdin show was also a dream come true. Like, Aladdin was my favorite Disney movie growing up, so then like the fact that I got to be him was like the coolest, mind-blowing thing ever. But it was one of the coolest jobs I ever had, and it was also like the hardest I've ever worked, and it was also a weird thing because usually when you do a musical theater, you do a show, you rehearse it for about a month or a month and a half, and then you perform it for about a month, and then you're done. That's it. And then sometimes you get to do it again, like if the show is being played somewhere else, and you get to like, oh cool, I get to play again. I have never been a part of a show where it was just literally my whole year was doing this 45-minute show, 4 times a day. There didn't have a lot of Aladdin, so I was there like sometimes 6 days a week, 7 days a week. And I was just doing the same thing, 45 minutes, over and over and over and over again. And it was awesome, it was very cool, but it was just the same thing. So then from that, I got to be in JoJo's, which took about 9.5 months to record the entire thing. So I got to just like, I've never had an experience before where I got to just grow with this character. I remember like being so excited to book it because it had 39 episodes. And I was just like, it was just gonna be a lot of practice. And I was like, number one, like the character was so freaking fun. I was just like, I did the audition and I was just, this guy's so fun, he's funny, he's badass. I really, really hope I get it. And luckily I did, but I just remember wanting to practice doing anime and dubbing because it's a lot of stuff. It's basically, you have to watch the scene, you have to read the script, you have to make sure you're matching what their face looks like, and you're stopping when they stop, and like you have to remember to act, and it's just a lot of stuff going on at one time. So it's nice when you kind of get all of that under your belt, and now you can just focus on the acting and telling the story. That's where you just want to be. So I just wanted to get to that point as soon as possible.
That's awesome.
And so yeah, being in 39 episodes definitely helped me out a lot with that. So he was just, yeah, he was an actor's dream come true, and I just had the best time, and I miss him so much. But yeah.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, of course, right in the back.
Yeah, so when you were a kid, you imagined cartoons and dubbing. Were you an anime fan before you went into anime dubbing?
So I was, but I didn't watch anything, if that makes sense. The only thing that I really had access to was Dragon Ball. And it didn't grab me because I've only I didn't know when it was on. I didn't know, there was so many episodes at that point that I just kind of felt lost when I jumped in. I just remember one episode where Goku is on this tiny planet and he realizes that he can like run around the planet in the opposite direction to catch somebody.
Yeah.
That's the only episode I remember, but it was awesome. I was like, that was sweet. So I didn't actually watch a lot of stuff. I remember me and my sister used to rent from Blockbuster on VHS, the Pokemon show, the same VHS that had like 3 episodes on it.
Do you remember which episodes?
I don't remember that. We watched all of them all the time. So I remember we watched that a bunch, and then it was just stuff that would pop up. I remember I played a bunch of video games, so like the little scenes in Mega Man X would pop in, and you know, they're not the best, but I was like, this is so cool. What does he say? Iris! That whole thing. That is amazing. But yeah, I remember just like thinking like that the style was so cool and it was so awesome, and it wasn't until I got to college. I remember the house where everybody hung out at, they had a big wall scroll of Toru Honda on the wall, and I was like, what's that? And they were like, you never saw Fruits Basket? And I was like, no. And they're like, sit on that couch, we're watching all of this. We watched that whole thing in like 3 days, and I was like, oh, I like this. So that was where my love of anime kind of started, and then I started going to Suncoast Video and picking up the DVDs that were really expensive and buying like the Oak with the panda snacks and the little Japanese sodas that are just like pure sugar. They're so good, and just watching, I think like Death Note was one of the first things I got. And then yeah, it wasn't until really like the streaming boom that once I started getting auditions for stuff, and I had access to all the streaming stuff, I just inhaled anime for like 2 years. That's like the only media I consumed for about 2 years, and then I started to like really love a bunch of stuff. So now I feel well versed. There's still so many things out there. There's still so many things that I'm probably never gonna watch, like One Piece. Like I'm not even gonna dip my toes in that. Like there's just too much. Like I could watch 50,000 shows in the time I could get caught up on One Piece. But yeah, I'm getting caught up now for sure. We got one in the back right there, and we'll come back.
Yeah. Okay, so me and my friends are all Maruki like lovers. He's like one of the best characters ever.
Oh my gosh,
Can you, like, is it like non-disclosure? Can you like explain the story like with Maruki and stuff?
Could I explain the story?
Like your experience with voicing the character.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I will try to be spoiler free. You don't get to delve on just deep stuff like I got to with Maruki. I had such a great time getting to voice that character because it was weird. It was kind of like the same thing with JoJo's, where I was stepping into something that was already just so beloved, and you just kind of have all these eyes on you, where it's just like, hey, there's a lot of people that don't want you to mess this up, so do a good job, please. So I remember just being super, super nervous when I first got in the booth, and the team at Sega Atlas and PCB, just, oh gosh, the people there are just like a warm hug. So it didn't take very much at all to like just feel very settled in that process. But it was, yeah, it's very rare that you get to really dive deep on the stuff that game touches on. And it was also a cool thing where it made you kind of, like, I remember I was doing the stuff and I was like, this guy makes a lot of sense. I would have a hard time. Like, I don't know, if he was talking to me about this stuff, I'd be like, I don't know, man. Yes, okay. But it's such an awesome, fun role, and I still haven't played it because so I played the first 70 hours of Persona 5, then I heard about Royal coming out, and I was like, I'm just gonna wait because I'm gonna play this again. And then I booked it, and then I was in it, and so I got to see what I got to do, and was just like, when I got done with it, and then the game comes out, I was like, I don't want to open those old wounds again. Like, I don't want to relive what I recorded, and I'm kind of nervous to see my performance in that one, so I still haven't picked it up. And also, I know it's like 150 hours minimum to beat the game, so I just know that it's going to take a long time. And but I freaking love that game. It's so good, and I am so freaking honored that I had a chance to be a part of it. It was freaking awesome, so hopefully that was a good way to dance around. We had a question right here?
I will say, if you want to experience the story of Persona 5 without having to spend 150 hours on the game, the anime is a pretty faithful adaptation.
Oh, good stuff.
Yeah.
I haven't checked this out yet.
So, When you played Aladdin in Disney, were you singing or was it pre-recorded stuff?
There were moments that there was, oh, I'm breaking the Disney magic. There were moments, they knew. There were moments of stunt Aladdin because during the carpet ride, which is the coolest thing in the world, oh my gosh. So basically, you would go under the stage, and then the carpet would take off, and then Aladdin and Jasmine are up on the carpet, and that was pre-recorded. So basically, I came off like out of the stage and just had to come in for now I'm in a hole, and then we would pick up from there. But yeah, it was all us on the stage, and oh my gosh, I remember I lost so much weight being in that show because the stage is massive. It's a humongous theater because it's Disneyland, or Disney World. Yeah, Disneyland. And it's 45 minutes that people can sit in air conditioning and just sit down. So every show is a completely sold out event. Like, it was nuts. And I remember, so the stage is humongous, and one jump is literally just Aladdin running circles around the stage. Like, by the end of that, like, the first day, I was like, like, it was just, my cardio was not there. And then I remember being so angry because I watched a video of the guy on Disney Cruise Line for the Fantasy. They had Aladdin on the Fantasy, like the show that we did, or the 45-minute version. And in that version, Aladdin stands in the middle of the stage and goes, one jump ahead of the red line, 1, 2, 3, and everybody's just like running around him with swords, and I'm like, yo, screw this guy! I want to do that version of the show. No, it was fun. But yeah, it was all us unless we were being the stunt Aladdin at the time.
What I love is that you played Aladdin, and Major is here who played the G.
I know, I was just talking to him. I was like, that's so cool.
You guys need to get together and do like an impromptu performance
Oh
for a
my
friend
gosh,
like me or something.
that'd be real fun. That's more on him. I don't know. Aladdin doesn't do much on that
Well,
one.
he does a night show like tomorrow night he has another one. I think it's like a masquerade ball or
That's
something.
awesome.
But join
I
him
might
for
pop
that.
in. I might do it. Don't tempt me.
It might be one of those 18+ ones.
Oh, I usually try to avoid this. I'm so scared about just being recorded. I don't really have any horror stories. Like, people always want to hear, like, what's the craziest thing that ever happened? And I was like, I don't really have. Everyone's been, I've been very lucky. This is not an invitation to be like, I gotta do something crazy to Billy. So he has an unbelievable story to tell at these 18+ panels. Like, everybody's been very cool and very nice. There was only one time I remember. It was the first, we were at Anime Week in Atlanta. It was right when they announced the cast for Mr. Osamatsu. So they brought us all in, and they're like, here's the cast! And it was like, all of us went out on stage, and then they were like, okay, and then we're gonna have you walk over, and you're gonna sign these big posters for people that bring them by. And then you can sign whatever you want else. And I just didn't do anything at that time except Josuke. And that was like, just got announced as well. So I remember I was sitting at this table, completely alone, and nobody was coming up to me. And then some guy just like walks up, he's like, who are you? I'm like, I'm Billy. He's like, what do you do? I'm like, I voice Josuke in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I'm Mr. Rossi. He was like, wait a minute, you're Josuke? I was like, yeah. And he was like, how do you not have like a line down at the door right now? I was like, I don't know, I guess word hasn't gotten out yet. And he's like, wait, are you the dub or the sub? I was like, the dub. And he was like, oh, that's probably why. I was like, yeah, you're probably right. I think that's like the only time somebody like really like, but other than that, everyone's been super nice, so thank you for that. Any other questions? We got one right here in the front, then we'll get to you.
I was just wondering, so you did Naofumi and Rising of the Shield Hero, and also Metal Lee and Boruto Naruto Next Generation. I did not even know that you were in Boruto, so I was kind of like, how the heck did a cynical character go from this voice to this voice? Like, how did you transition from Naofumi into Metal Lee?
Oh man,
From that,
that's
and
one of the
would
most...
you mind doing like a sort of a demonstration on how you got to that point?
Oh sure. I mean, that's one of the fun things about just the voiceover industry is what your day looks like is nuts. You can be doing, okay, in the morning I gotta do, I'm the dad cat in this children's show, and then an hour after that I am going to be the murderous villain in this Sword Boys anime, and then an hour after that I'm gonna be doing a commercial for a university or something like that. And it's just like your days are always just so varied with what you're doing and all the crazy things you get to do. So it's very exciting. It's just like, it's very hard for you to just be like, okay, here we go again. It's just, everybody that is, for the most part, in the voiceover industry is very, very grateful to be there and is having a blast because, I don't know, it just seems like a tribe aspect to voiceover where it's just like, when you start talking, it's like everyone's a nerd, everyone's into this stuff, and it's fun. But yeah, it's, the difference between Naofumi and Metal Lee are definitely a big difference. I remember learning a very valuable lesson with Metal Lee. They said, when I was taking classes and stuff, and I'm still taking classes, don't audition for something if you can't sustain it for a 4-hour session. So like, if you go in for these, people that do these creature voices and stuff are so freaking cool. And they can just do like these throat-ripping growl things, but they're placing it in a way that it's not like, they're not screaming and hurting themselves. They place it like in their diaphragm, not in their throat, so they can do that for a long time. So I remember I auditioned for Metal and was like, okay, he's like this freaking out little kid, so I was like, I'm gonna make him super high, and he's not confident about himself, so he's real scratchy. So I just did this like, leave hurricane, like kind of a thing, and then they booked me with that, and then I'm trying to do it in the sessions, and I was like, oh no, this hurts, I shouldn't have done this, and then I'm in like this 4-hour session. So I remember I slowly kept trying to make him less high and less gravelly, and then the director will be like, oh, hold on a second, they'll do this thing where they will record one of your first lines, and then they'll play it again when you get in the booth, and then you repeat it back, that way the engineer can get your levels, and you can also hear what the character sounds like, so you're on the same page, and it's always like, has a good through line, it doesn't sound different. But I've always been trying to make him lower and less scratchy, and then the director's like, oh wait, hold on a second, and then they'll like play like, leave hurricane, I'm like, he sounds like that, like, oh my bad guys, okay, cool, and then I'll just like have to go back to him like, ah! So yeah, he's just back of the throat, just gravelly, and just as high as I can possibly make him. And then Naofumi is just like, kind of just like, my smoky lower. He never does anything more than this unless he's screaming Raftalia or Philo for like his catchphrases. I always feel weird. People are like, give me a catchphrase from Naofumi. I feel like, all he does is go, Raftalia! Philo! And that's it. That's like all he does. That's the only thing he says all the time. I think. So, but yeah, that's how that kind of goes on. We had a question right here?
All right, so let's switch to the three houses.
Okay.
I thought about this question when I saw Joe Seja, just because he used to be a military officer. I'm going to ask you this question. Of all the three houses, of the three house leaders, who do you think is the biggest war criminal?
Oh. Okay, so here I have a dark secret.
You might be biased.
I have not played all of the playthroughs. I have not beat the Black Eagles playthrough because I got to. Does everybody know there's a time skip and everything? Mm-hmm. Okay, so I feel like it's been out for a while. So I got to the time skip. I didn't recruit anybody in this game because I didn't have time for that, I guess. And then Ash shows up on the battlefield, and I had to kill that good boy. And I was like, I hate this. I am not ready emotionally for this. I'm gonna put this away, and I will come back to this at a later date. I have not come back to it. I love Fire Emblem, though. I love Fire Emblem so much. I used to play that in middle school on my Game Boy Advance like crazy. So I remember when I got to be in it, I just lost my mind. But I guess I would have to say Edelgard, because I didn't realize, even though the game was kind of prepping you for like, hey, this is a big decision you're about to make, it's gonna drastically alter the course of the game, I was still like, no, I think you're wrong. That sounds like you're being bad people right now. And I said no, and then I had to do the boring church route. No, I'm just kidding, the church route's cool. But I lost her and I lost Hubert, who was just like, oh, freaking, both of them are just like the tankiest tanks. Like, Hubert can take out anything from anywhere on the field, and then Edelgard was just like going crazy. But I feel like I'd have to say Edelgard because I didn't follow her in my game, just on my playthrough. But I have not actually played the other ones. And I'm told that, I know that Dimitri is like everyone's favorite, but apparently he is just a murderous, just angry boy. So I don't know, but I will get to it eventually. I will suck it up, and I will.
Is a war criminal.
Who is this?
Do you think your character's a war criminal?
Do I think my character's a war criminal? No. He's too noble. He's too noble for that. He doesn't have time for war crimes. No. Who's next? We have one right here in the middle, and then we'll get in the back. Okay?
Alright. So how was working on Dorohedoro and all its craziness with Risu and all its chaos the whole time?
That show was really cool. That was just one of those ones where the animation, every once in a while you'll get an audition and you'll look at the animation and you just go, I want to book this. So I didn't know much about it going into it, and they were trying to just like explain it to me. I feel like I've now tampered down my expectations of how crazy anime gets sometimes. They're like, yeah, you live in a guy's head and you look at people and then you're like, no, that's not the guy. That's pretty much all you're thinking. But yeah, that show was awesome. I really liked working on that. It's just, the animation is so cool, and everybody just did an awesome job with it, so I felt really cool to be a part of that one too. And then we had one in the back over here.
Yeah, I got another question about experience. How was it voicing Rhino in Nocturne? Didn't you voice Rhino?
Rhino and Nocturne.
Didn't you voice Rhino? Kuzunoa?
Oh my, wait. Yes, I'm so sorry. I totally I didn't hear it, just like, who's Rhino? And I was like, did I voice Rhino? That was a cool thing. I didn't realize. I know he has a game from back in like PS2.
PS2.
PS2 days, man.
Two.
He has two?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
But they didn't make it over here.
No, they did.
Or
They were both released over here. You can get them on PlayStation Network on PS3.
That's
That's
awesome.
kind of the only way to find them unless you want to spend a bunch of money on eBay.
I gotcha. I'm crossing my fingers that they remake that because I think that'd be really cool to be a part of. I still haven't checked out any Shin Megami Tensei game because I'm told that they are so hard. So unbelievably hard. And so I haven't done it yet, but I really want to get that the one that just I really want to get Nocturne. And yeah, it's just I've never been a silent protagonist before, so that was really cool to just kind of get to dip my feet in that water right there. So yeah, I'm hoping that he gets his remakes over here and they localize that. I think that'd be really, really cool. So, but yeah, he looks so cool. So yeah, I'm all about that.
No.
Did we have a question right here?
So, except for Aladdin, what was your favorite musical?
Ooh, favorite musical other than Aladdin? I would have to say, this one kind of snuck up on me, but I got to be Sunny in Xanadu. I don't know if you guys know Xanadu at all. It is a amazing show. It is just like this comedy 80s masterpiece. It's so self-aware. It's totally just poking fun at this terrible movie that came out in the 80s. And it is so funny. And the music is so good. And I got to wear short shorts and roller skate. And how do you not have a good time doing it? I remember, did you guys have back in the day, we used to have every first Friday of the month, our elementary school would have a roller skating party at this place. And I went to that every single month, and it was so much fun. And I went home after I booked that role. Okay, I was scared for a second. So I went back home after I booked that, and I was like, I wonder if this place is still open. I went over there, and it was still open. I was like, I gotta learn how to skate again. So I got my roller skates, and I was doing my thing. I got to learn how to moonwalk on roller skates. I just felt so cool during this show. But yeah, that one was really, really fun. But yeah, musicals were so fun. It was a good time. The Green Day musical was also a really, really good time. I got to be in Seussical. That was one of my first professional theater things. I got to be Yertle the Turtle, the Grinch, Vlad Vladikov. Just all of the ensemble things, all the ensemble numbers in Seussical just live rent-free in my head, and I love that show so much. So yeah, that one's up there too. But yeah, I miss my musical theater days. That was a good time. All right, we have a question right here.
Yeah, so I'm kind of thinking about JoJo in this, but I guess I'll open up to all your experiences. Was there an episode or a take that, for one reason or another, was just difficult for you?
Oh my God, yes, absolutely. All of the Dura barrages in that were like 12 to 15 seconds long. Here's the thing, I feel like I can't really complain too much because I feel like of all the Josuke had the easiest time. Like, I don't know how Matt Mercer does the oora oora oora, like that's just like I can do that for maybe 2 seconds without my mouth just like turning to mush. I remember Philip Reich, the guy that plays Giorno, he had to do like that 7-page Muda thing, which is insane.
He got that in one take.
Oh yeah, and the way he said that he found out to do that is instead of saying Muda 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 and like putting the emphasis on the mu, he put it on the da, so it was like Muda 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 Muda, and I was like, oh, that was really smart. So for me, it was like da 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 da, like I just gotta troll my R's, easy. Like all those guys were like, what are you complaining about? You guys like da 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 da, like. Get out of here. But they had to do that for like 12 seconds sometimes. So I remember we would be in the booth, we would be doing the thing, and when I first started doing it, I was just like hitting it as hard as I can, starting here, and then just trying to sustain. And then I would get maybe 10 seconds in, then my voice would crack, then I would do 3 more seconds of it, and then I would end. And then Tony Oliver, the director, would come on the thing, and he would be like, okay, that was really good. Let's just take out the puberty on this next take, and we're gonna be good to go. I'm like, thank you, Tony, okay. But I learned how to tamper that one was, if you start really low, and then you rise, and then you plateau, and then you have the big ending. So it'd be like, and then that was how I kind of figured that out. So that made it easier. But yeah, that was really difficult. And then yeah, I feel like Mr. Osomatsu was really hard because it was really funny. So I botched so many takes because I was laughing so hard. Because, okay, Patrick Sykes was the director for the first few episodes. And he's just one of the funniest freaking guys ever. He's so good. And he would have, a lot of times with the scripts, it's just like, here's the line. That's it. Every once in a while, I'll be like, here's the line, here's an alt, which also works. And if we want to try both of them and see which one we like better, that'll be the one. Patrick Sykes was like, here's a super funny thing you can say, here's a super funny alt that you can say, and then here's a third super funny alt that you can say that also might work. And they were all hilarious. So we would try all of them. And I wouldn't be able to get through like the C take or something, and then they'd be like, you know what, B was great, we'll just move on. I'd be like, no, I can get it, guys, I promise. But that show is so dirty and so funny, and if you haven't checked it out, I highly recommend it. It's very, very good, but not for children. Don't bring Grandma to this one. She can't watch this show so much. Just kidding, she can watch if she grows. We have a question right here?
Okay, so going back to what you were talking about earlier with musical theater and stuff, is there any particular musical currently that would be like the role that you'd want to have?
Ooh, okay. Dream musical theater roles. Okay. My dream musical theater role would bring together my love of voiceover and my love of musical theater. I want to be the plant in Little Shop. I want to be Audrey 2. I think that would be so fun. I really got into Dear Evan Hansen when that came out, and okay, here's the thing. When I was in musical theater, I am a baritone. I don't sing in the stratosphere of the tenors and the tenor twos. I can get up there, I can dabble, but to be able to do musicals nowadays, you have to be able to be a high tenor, you have to tumble, you have to, I remember, oh my gosh, I learned how to tumble when I was living in New York because I thought I needed to like be able to book roles. And I learned how to do a round-off back tuck. And I had never tried it out on a hard floor. I was only ever on like this stuff. So then I remember I went to my first my first audition in New York in those tiny rooms with the dance mirrors and everything. And they were very sketch and very scary. And they were like, does anybody tumble? And I was like, I tumble, and then they're like, come on everybody. So I remember I walk into the tumbling room, and they're like, who wants to go first? And then this other guy was like, I'll go first, and he was just like, went to the side, did the thing, did like a freaking round off, back handspring, triple tuck with a twist, and then like landed and did an ollie, and then I was just like, yeah, is it okay if I leave? And they're like, yeah, you can leave. I was like, I'm gonna go. So I never actually tried to tumble. But I remember when Dear Evan Hansen came out, I was driving to Vegas for something, and I was like, I wonder if I could be Evan Hansen. And I tried to sing Waving Through a Window, and like there's that part of the I was like, waving, whoa. And I tried to hit those notes, and I did not hit those notes. And this was when I was like started doing voiceover. And I just remember having this moment of calm, and I was like, and it doesn't matter, I don't have to hit those notes, and I just got very happy. But yeah, Evan Hansen, if I could hit it. Anything in Book of Mormon, I love that show. I just love that show so much. I feel like that would be such a blast to be a part of. And yeah, Audrey too. Those are my top 3, for sure. Anybody first time questions? Then we will get to everybody. First time questions.
If you have any really like memorable favorite lines from any of your work.
Memorable favorite lines. Oh gosh. Oh jeez. Do I? There's gotta be. I have to. It's like, okay, here's the weird thing. It doesn't really hit until you watch it. And then I'm like, oh my gosh. Like in Promare when he's like, through spark and flame, I got your back. At the end of the movie, it's like, like that kind of stuff. There's a moment in Shield Hero in episode 8. It's like the Rage Shield episode. He goes outside after like the big dragon fight, and he looks up at the moon, and he has like that moment, like where Raftalia got hurt. He really is starting to like, care about people again, and where he's finally starting to let us in. And he like looks up at the moon. He's like, I gotta grow stronger, along with the people that believe in me. He was like, I'll protect them, come what may. I was like, ah, like the song that like kind of hits at that point. I was just like tearing up in the booth and stuff. There's a lot of times I've teared up in the booth a lot. And it makes me so happy as an actor because when I was doing theater, I would go to classes and people could just start crying on a dime. And I was like, what is happening? How do you do that? I just didn't get it. And it bugged me for a long time. And then I started doing voiceover, and like I would cry in every animated movie. Like that is where I would go. I always go to animated movies by myself, bless you. I get all my cries out, and that's just like, they're just my emotional kryptonite. And so when I started doing voiceover, I would be tearing up in the booth all the time. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know what this is, but it feels real good. So I just had to make me feel like I'm in the right place or something. I don't know what it was, but yeah, it's usually afterwards that you'll be doing something. That's a lie. There's moments in JoJo's where I would literally text Jalen, who played Okuyasu. He was the script adapter on the show as well, and he is just amazing. He is incredible. I love Jalen. But he got some of the funniest lines in JoJo's that I'm not going to repeat now because this is apparently going to be on YouTube. But I just like text him like, how did you get blank waffle into a show? And he'd be like, yep, we got it. So yeah, he's awesome. There's a couple of those. Question right here.
So, since you're kind of doing a Smash tournament tomorrow, I want to know your Smash character, favorite Smash characters.
Oh man, okay. So I am my favorite Smash character, or my mains, I am a Wolf main. I am a Little Max secondary. I'm sorry about that. But those are my guys, they're my fave. I tried to be a Fox guy so bad, because he was my dude in Melee. And I played a little bit of Brawl, not a ton of Brawl. And I didn't buy a Wii U, and I didn't feel like Fox he wasn't where he was in Melee in those other games. So in this new one, I was like, oh my god, he's good again. So I got really excited. And he can rack up the damage, but he cannot kill, and I hated that. So then I started playing Wolf, and I was like, oh my god, his dash attack kills? Okay, so then I started playing him. That's my guy now, I love Wolf. But yeah, I play a bunch of people. I do this. Okay, so this was a panel that I started doing when I started doing conventions, and then conventions were not a thing for a year, so I started streaming on Twitch, and it was basically I was just planning on doing that panel on Twitch all the time. So I just play people, like for 3 hours, once or twice a week, and it's a whole mess of fun. But yeah, it just gets kind of stale to be the same people over and over again, so I started playing just everyone. I definitely have my people that I hate. I cannot stand Minecraft Steve. A lot of times I'll play random. Like if somebody, especially these things too, if you're not that good, or if like I haven't played in years or I haven't played in months, please just like come hang out and like try, because I'll just play random and then like it'll be like a luck of the draw thing. But like yeah, if I get Minecraft Steve, Banjo, Rosalina, Olimar, Zero Suit Samus, I'm just so garbage with these people, and I just like don't want to put the time in at all. But yeah, I really like Incineroar, I really like Roy. I'm playing Link right now. He's been a lot of fun. Yeah, those are my faves right now. But I just freaking love that game. That was like all we did. All we did in high school was play Melee. My parents are so... My sister was kind of the problem child. She wasn't the problem, she was fine. But like, she would like stay out late and stuff and like be at parties, and then I would be like at my friend's basement playing Melee, eating pizza and drinking cherry Coke, and she's like, yeah, you're fine. You go be a nerd. so that was always fun. But yeah, any other questions? And first time question.
Was there ever a time in your life where you felt like stage fright or like had like a very hard time with either a character or a musical?
Oh yeah. Have I ever felt stage fright before? Absolutely. All the time. It doesn't ever really go away. You just kind of learn how to navigate it better. But I still have nightmares of being up on stage and realizing I never looked at the script. Still to this day, I still have dreams of that, and I still have dreams of I'm still like a server back at a restaurant, and it's brunch, and everybody wants 5 different beverages, but we have no glasses. So it's just me trying to pretend to be busy, walking around the restaurant and avoiding my tables for like 6 hours until I wake up like, oh God! Ah! But the moments that I've been the most scared on stage have been when I've forgotten a line. That's the worst feeling in the world. It's happened twice, 3 times. There's 2 big ones that stand out. The one time was when, oh gosh, some guy got a really bad eye infection in college, and he was the main guy in this children's show. So he did all these different characters, and he had that eye infection. They're like, we need to replace this guy right now. So I had they're like, Billy, can you do this? I was like, sure. And I learned this show in less than a day, and I went up on stage, and I did a decent job. Like, I was like, okay, I actually did a good job. But there was one moment where I was like I was a goblin, and I was talking to my little gremlin sidekick, and I was just like up on this box, and I was like, oh, Snebbly. Oh, Snebbly. And you just gotta kind of live in it for a second and be like, I don't have the line, take a deep breath, and the line will come to you. And it just like, I remember the guy that was playing Snebbly like kind of fed me something like, don't you want to go to the forest? I was like, ah, yes, Snebbly, we must go. And then he like, so that happened. The one time where it was awful, and this was the time that they got on film for like their archives. I was in Spring Awakening, and I was Hanshin in that show, and I love Spring Awakening. But it's the moment where it's Hanshin and Ernst, there it is. They were just like, they're hanging out after Totally Effed, and it's kind of like that whole thing where he kind of seduces him into kissing him. And it's like a big, powerful moment, and I just remember I got it in my head because it was after Disney Cruise Line and I hadn't been on stage in a while, and I remember it was going really well. Like the audience was like losing their mind, and I just had a split second of like, wow, this is going really well. And then I had the line, I had like this little monologue thing, and I was like, Ernst, there are 3 ways a man can go. And then I just totally blanked, and then I was just like, okay, it's fine, we've been here before, take a deep breath, and the line will come to you. And I was like, this line. And I remember just being like, and he was like, yeah? And I remember like there was like a table nearby, and I literally went, and it just like, I didn't have it. And I was like supposed to like kiss this guy in literally like 30 seconds. And I remember I just went to the first line that I could think of, and it was way, way, way in the future. And then they were like, start the song, start the interlude. And then we started the song, and then we sang to each other, and then I kissed this guy, and it was the most awkward thing that I'd ever done. It was just, oh gosh. So yeah, that was the worst moments of being on stage is when you forget a line. So I try to be very, very prepared every time I do this stuff. But yeah, any other questions? We have let's go to you, and then we'll go to the back.
Because of your career path as a voiceover actor, have you gotten to cross paths with any voiceover actors that you idolized as a kid?
Let's see. Have I, oh man. I haven't, okay, so it's a pretty solo experience. The idea, especially nowadays, of doing a complete group record, it's kind of something that will happen in bigger animated shows like prelay animation, where you do the scene and then they animate to you. So it's not something that you run into a whole heck of a lot. I will say, I got to be in a session over Zoom, and Roger Craig Smith was there, and just watching him work in a session, I was like, I gotta get on this level, because he was just like so funny. He was so nice to everybody, and people always say you have to be fearless in this job, and I was always like, yeah, okay, be fearless, and I didn't really know what that meant until I watched him work, because he was just throwing stuff out there. He's like, hey, can I do another take? I think this would actually be really funny. And I remember he did this thing, and it was hysterical. But then the person that ran the show, not the director was like, what do you think, client? Because the client will be there, and they're like, it's really good, but we can't do that. Like, we can't use that. So they were like, okay, cool. And they just like, and then we went, he did something else. But I was just like, oh my gosh. So he's the guy that I'm thinking of right now, just like getting to work with someone really awesome. But yeah, I mean, I have so many heroes in this business, so it's a lot of times you kind of see people in and out of, you're going into a session, they're leaving the session, like, hey. So that's kind of your moment to strike a little bit. But yeah, we had a question back there.
You summon Adam
Can I summon Adam Cadman? It's just you just gotta scream Adam Cadman, right? Adam Cadman! There we go. I feel like I just summoned my stand. People always ask that. I was like, if you had a stand, what would it be? And I always say that I just want to have a stand called Phil Collins. Just because I think it would be really, really funny to shout Phil Collins every time I wanted to do like a magical power. And I remember feeling very old when, my superpower of choice back in the day when I was a kid, I was like, flying is the coolest thing ever. Have to fly. Gotta fly. Flying is the coolest. Then, as I got older, I'd be like, if I was flying, I'd have to get like a flying jacket. It's probably real cold up there. And like, that would take too long, and it would take away a lot of the mystique of flying if I had to wear a big puffy jacket. So I just want to teleport. I just want to teleport now. So I just think it'd be really awesome to be like, Phil Collins! And then I just disappear. So up in Paris. I don't know.
So you can't feel it in the air tonight, then.
Exactly. Exactly. We have a question right here.
So with Naofumi and his character, when you were doing his voice and you got to know the character as you were doing his parts, I was just wondering, did you have those moments where you wanted to strangle him, like literally out of the screen because of how like cynical and heartless sometimes he would be?
Yeah. I feel like they told me that they toned him down, actually, and made him less of that in compared to the light novel series, because apparently, you know, the whole thing with the princess and the king and the whole like beheading thing that might maybe happen, and then he was like, hey guys, no, we shouldn't do this. Apparently in the light novel, he's like, yeah, let's do it, let's go. Like, he was apparently doing that, so I thought that was funny. So yeah, comparatively, they really toned him down a little bit. But yes, he had his moments of just, I mean, the guy's been through a lot. There's a lot of stuff that goes on. We're like, how much more can the boy take? But yeah, there's the moments where he finally starts to trust people again are very, very, very heartwarming, and just I live for that. So
yeah, and the light novel is told from his perspective.
Oh, okay.
Like it's like a first person, almost like he's writing it, kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I mean, the show is kind of based like that too.
Yeah,
like he does a lot of just they kind of, I don't know, I remember the first episode, they did that a lot, where he kind of talked about just what was going on the whole time, but God, that show. It's so good.
I'm hoping for season 2 soon.
I don't know when it's coming, but
yeah.
But we're waiting. You got a question in the back?
Yeah, I'm kind of curious how much background or how much stuff you get about the character before you start dubbing. Like, do you see the whole thing? Do you use a lot of reference material stuff before you start dubbing? Like,
I gotcha. So how much?
Yeah,
how much research do I do beforehand? I used to do a lot, because that's kind of how you're taught in theater. Is you do all these scene study things, and you just kind of work these things for a long time, and that was always really helpful for me. But sometimes it's not available to you. With video games especially, they're very secretive about everything, and they have to get so much work done in such a short amount of time. With anime, they kind of want you to get around 30 loops done an hour, and you're pretty much doing a good job. With video games, it's 100. That's kind of what they're going for. So a lot of times, it's just, you have an Excel spreadsheet next in front of you, and they have the director will have a cursor on the line, and then you give an A, you give an A and a B, so you just do it again. You do it once, take a breath, do it again, and if they like it, they'll put the cursor down, and then you just do the next line, and then you do it again. Cursor goes down. Sometimes, like if they're like, oh, actually, can you do it more? He's like, he's a little further away. They'll give you stuff. But I used to try and prepare like I would with a theater thing, and I would watch the show before I was going in and be like, get ideas and stuff like that. And there was just a point in time where I just got too busy to do that before a JoJo session. And I was actually having the discoveries as they were happening to me in the booth and just like getting to watch it for the first time. And I liked it so much better. And I'm happy that I started doing that because I cried a bunch of times in the booth during JoJo's, and I would have wasted that in my living room. I'd be like, oh, here it comes. So I kind of like the aspect of not knowing. And so yeah, the way that they'll work basically is you get to watch the scene before you do it. And it's so easy to get into character because the music is there, you see the animation, you get to hear the Japanese performance, so everything is just right there. It just needs your voice. So they'll give you the 3 beeps, and then you just go after you watched it one time. So that's pretty much how they work. And yeah, I definitely recommend if you want to get into voiceover, getting into improv, because being able to just make a big decision quickly is super helpful in voiceover. So yeah, and then we have 3 minutes. So if anybody has a question, raise your hand. We're gonna rapid fire answer all of them in a short amount of time. Okay? So if you have a question, raise your hand. We got one right here.
All right. With all the reboots and the remakes coming out for video games and anime, is there something from your childhood or college days that's like your dream gig? Like there's a character you really want to do if it ever comes across the table?
Oh man, oh gosh, there's too many things.
I feel like I'm going to eat up to 3 minutes. I'm sorry.
Oh no, yeah. I'll just say a Ninja Turtle. I want to be a Ninja Turtle. If I got to be Donatello, like one day, I would lose my freaking mind. But a million things. We have a question right here.
What parts in JoJo made you cry?
Oh, I can't say because of spoilers, just in case.
Okay.
But stuff at the end. Next question. Anybody else? Right here.
Is there a character you're deeply connected to that you voiced?
Oh my gosh, all of them. You put so much of yourself in them, and so a lot of times, a lot of the things are just like me amped up to 10. So yeah, all of them for sure. Any other questions? Right here.
I'm curious when you're doing voiceover and having to do like more sound effects, like grunts or like attacks, like I'm thinking Fire Emblem. Like, do you have like a written like throwing a spear or like what that process is like? Is the director like more grunty?
Yeah, no, I mean like you kind of, it's usually like a light, medium, and heavy attack. So it's like, like it's just that kind of stuff. So it'll tell you, and yeah, sometimes they'll do like he's holding a lance, he's holding a sword, he's holding an axe. That will always change the read too. But yeah, it's a lot of times like light, medium, heavy. That's the way they do it. Any other questions? Right here.
If you had to choose a favorite, who would be your favorite of your characters?
Oh god, I can't. I would have to say Josuke, because he was the first one that I really got to do, that I really got to grow with, so I have a big soft spot in my heart, but I feel so lucky to be a part of any of the people that I've voiced. Do we have any others? We got one right here, and then we're done.
Do you have a difficulty trying not to sound like the same character for a new character?
I kind of don't worry about that, because it's like, I kind of just do my thing and be like, this guy would sound like this, because if I didn't use my normal voice for a thing, be like, I think this guy sounds like this. Like, I'm never gonna get cast in like I'll never be a male protag boy ever again. So I just kind of work on the acting and just kind of do it that way. And last question.
What's your favorite color?
Purple, because of Donatello from Ninja Turtles. So. Guys, thank you so much. I will be doing autographs tomorrow at 11, and then I'll be doing my Smash panel at 4, and then I have no idea what my schedule is for Sunday, but I'll be doing stuff on Sunday. Thank you guys so much.
We'll check in with Major tomorrow and get that
That's perfect.
Get that Aladdin.
Heck yeah, I'll see you guys.
You kick so much ass.
Thank you, you too. Thank you guys so much.
Morning, Maya.